There's no such thing as a perfect skate day. This thought has been in my head for about 2 to 3 weeks now, I believe. Obviously, I always know that not everything goes exactly to plan, but I never really let that thought sink in for a bit. Like, there's no such thing as a perfect skate day. You know? Like, just let that sink in your brain for a second. Because I've never really given that thought that much consideration or thought, but now that I'm saying it out loud and now that I've processed it through my head, I really have begun to realize that not everything always seems to go as planned. Clearly, I've already known that, but I think my attempt to always be a perfectionist and constantly try to, to have this go perfect and that go perfect would honestly just set me up for failure. And if anybody else would try that, their result would also be the same. It would probably set them up for failure. So, in this video, I'm going to be explaining the reasons why there's no such thing as a perfect skate day and how to take that with you when you go out and go skate. For reason number 1, some tricks just work better than others. I can't tell you guys how many times I would try to do a kickflip for part of my warm-up, and sometimes it would take me about 7 to 10, if not like 15 tries at most, just to land one and let it somewhat decent, if not clean. Or for me and tray flips, I still have it down kind of consistently, but it's at the point where the board constantly flips over and I never really land on the bolts or on the side with the grip tape. It's more of the side where my trucks are facing up. And honestly, I have no idea why. I have gotten pretty close though, so when it comes to doing some tricks, sometimes they work, other times they don't, and sometimes you got a trick super duper good, other times you don't, and honestly that's fine. I choose now at the moment to not completely let that define me for how good I am at skateboarding, and sometimes I just choose to work on other things and help me better my skateboarding that way instead. So instead of me constantly dwelling on the stuff that I'm struggling to do, I'm gonna try and focus on something else that I can do. That way I can keep my confidence up and just keep enjoying what I love. Reason number 2, the conditions will never really be perfect. And by conditions, I mean physical conditions, and if not weather conditions. Physically, there are just some times where I push myself way too hard and I become incredibly sore. For example, when I was trying tray flips and I was just starting to get a little bit better at them, I would constantly try it back to back and give it my all every single try non-stop, like repetitively. And after doing that constantly, it put a huge strain on my muscles, to where if I tried doing tray flips the day after, if not 2 days after, my thigh muscles would be very, very sore after constantly trying the motion. There's only so much that I could probably do without hurting myself really badly or straining my muscles to the point where maybe it'd be hard to move. For the weather conditions, sometimes the weather honestly just sucks. Like last week, it snowed where I was, and the snow lasted for about a week. I wasn't able to skate or really do anything at all. Or sometimes when it comes to rain, there was one time I was skating with my friend Elvis and we were having a totally perfect sesh, but then for some reason it just started raining out of nowhere and we had to try and run for some type of cover. Bearings got messed up, boards got waterlogged. That was rough. That was really, really rough. So when it comes to certain conditions, it's not always going to be perfect, whether it's physically or whether it comes to the weather. Sometimes it just works, other times it doesn't, and me, I'm personally fine with that. For reason number 3, there's never really an exact perfect plan when it comes to skateboarding, and I've honestly just really begun to realize that, I remember that I'd always have this plan out in my head, like, okay, I'm gonna do this trick down this stair set, I'm gonna go skate to this spot and go skate there, and sometimes that is the case, but other times it's never really that much of a plan. For example, when I was skating with my friends on Saturday, sometime over the weekend, we didn't really have an exact idea of where to skate. So I just randomly chose one spot that I've already been to so many times already. I didn't really want to go there at first, but after I went there, I skated with my friends and we just goofed off. Like sometimes we skated, other times we didn't. It wasn't really too bad. The only thing that really sucked was the fact that it was like 25 degrees outside, super duper cold, and really, really windy. Compared to other people who have way harsher conditions with weather, maybe 25 degrees, cold weather, and winds isn't that bad for them, but for me, it was. So we mainly just stayed inside and just chilled for a bit, kind of skated on and off, and then we just honestly just goofed off and just had fun. I tried to go out, I tried to make the most out of what I can do, and I really think that's what matters the most. I was still able to goof off with my friends and have a good time, and honestly that's all that really matters. So I'm glad that I went out that day. As much as I really didn't want to, I was probably making up some random excuses in my head. I'm glad that I was able to be productive and make something out of that day instead of just sitting down in my house doing nothing. I'd rather go outside and go do something more productive than stay inside and do nothing all day. Not that doing things inside is unproductive, but I personally find going outside way more productive for me. And for number 4, constantly adapting to change. Whether you just got back into skateboarding, whether you're trying to skate a new obstacle, whether you're trying to learn a new trick, whether you're just trying something that pushes you out of your comfort zone, there will be times where you're also able to not only feel uncomfortable, but also have times where you're going to adapt and be able to get used to that, thus making you a more well-rounded skater overall. Like for me, and transition. Back when I used to skate at skate parks when I was 12 or 13, I would never skate transition. It scared the living crap out of me. Now, not so much. You know, I was always afraid of dropping in or pumping on transition or trying certain tricks, but now I'm at the point where transition, when I go to a skate park, is mainly what I want to skate. And I freaking enjoy it. Also, when it comes to skateboarding certain spots, not every part of it is going to be perfect. There's going to be those spots that have a horrible run-up, there's going to be a crack somewhere around the spot. Stuff like that are some of the things that make skateboarding challenging. But by you taking that challenge, you're able to adapt and become a more well-rounded skater overall. And that's honestly just going to make you better in the long run. So by all means, adapting, it is kind of hard to get used to and it does kind of suck, but by all means, you'll be thanking yourself later once it pays off. Let me know what you guys think of this video in the comment section below. Tell me some of the things that you would go through while skateboarding and how you were able to overcome it or try to adapt it in one way or another, or just how skateboarding is for you at the moment. And that basically wraps up for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you guys later. Peace out.